Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Angela and this is My Precious Yarnery. So today we're going to learn how to do this sweater. This sweater I have named the Nancy Cardi. It is named after, she's got yarn too, Nancy, because she has inspired me to make this using this yarn, and then I used the yarn she sent me to make this one. I am super excited about this. Nancy's great. I will link her below. If you're not subscribed, go check her out. She's so sweet. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the yarn, what I used, and then we'll talk about how to do the measurements, because it's so simple, because there's no stitch count to this, and you make it the size you are, whether you're really tiny or really big. You can use this for a toddler, or you can make it any size, and it's custom to you or whoever you're making it for. So let's talk about this yarn first. Now, I do not have any more of what I used in this, but what I used was the Granny Square yarn, the Granny Square from Red Heart. Now, I used a 6mm crochet hook when I made this. In the tutorial, we're making this one. Now, I don't have any more of what, it's just the red and black, and then the black I used Mega Ball from Hobie. Now, you can use anything you want, obviously, because I used a completely different yarn. But this is why Nancy inspired me to make this. She makes sweaters out of, she's been making sweaters out of Granny Square yarns and that aren't Granny Squares. So it is gorgeous. This one's a little shorter, and I did the trim a little different, but I've done trims like this on my other sweaters, so if you need to see that, you just go over there. And then this one's a little longer. This one, and I will put in the description box how much yarn I used, what yarn, what hook I used, as much information as I can. There is a little bit of a, I don't even know what the stitch is called. And in the tutorial, I call it the half double slip stitch. But there's really just 2 stitches you really need to learn, or 3. We don't even need to learn it. If you half double crochet, the half double slip stitch, and a single crochet. Simple, simple. And for this one, I used a 7mm hook. And for this yarn, I used Big Twist Prism. It's so soft. Now, when she sent me this, I've been trying to figure out, I was going to make blankets and that, but it's so soft and squishy, it needed to be a sweater. It just talked to me. It just needed to be a sweater. Both are 44 medium weight, but this one I used a bigger hook for. This color is called Cotton Candy Quartz. Like I said, I don't know what this one's called. It's the black and red one. Now, to get it, the measurements, make your chain. Now, like I said, I don't know if I said it, but there's no stitch count. So make your chain as long as you need it and put it to the top of your shoulders and as long as you want it going down. And remember, you'll be doing a trim, and you can make the trim as long or little as you want to. So it's all customized. Make it that long, and you're going to be folded in half, your chain, and put it on the top of your shoulders until as long as you want it. You will be working your front panel, one of your front panels, and your back at the same time. So that's going to be long. Or, like this one's pretty long, but it goes by fast. It really does. It goes by so fast. And then how wide, when you stop to do the neck part, let's see, the middle of your back to wherever you want it. I'm sorry, the microphone's there. So you go from the middle of your back, under your armpit, to wherever you want it, and go for the largest part of your body, whether it be your hips, your stomach, your girls, whatever. And that's how I measure that. And then the neck, I show you the measurements for that. And then you just do the same on the other side. Simple. And then when you do the arms, you just keep trying your sweater on to see how long you want your arms to be. And remember, you put a little cuff on there. So I really hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I just want to say thank you, Nancy, for inspiring me to do it. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good day.
Okay, guys, for this tutorial, you're going to need scissors, a measuring tape, lots of stitch markers, and a darning needle to sew in your ends. And to sew your sweater together. So I have a white piece of paper down so you can see the yarn just a little bit better. So if you're following along with me, I have 150 stitches. There is no stitch count for this stitch. So I have 150, and I always work, if you watched any of my tutorials, I always work in the back loop. So right into here. Let's see if I can get this camera just a little bit better. So I always work in the back loops. Now you can work in the front V's if you want. I just like to work in the back. So in the second stitch from the back, so I count my loops. There's 1, 2. This one doesn't count, or you count the V's, 1, 2. I wrap my yarn, and I'm going to do half double crochets. There's one. You're going to go all the way along with just half double crochets. Oops. So it's just, the first row is very simple. Well, the whole thing's very simple. So half double crochets all the way down, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I made it all the way across. I just wanted to stop and show you why I do it in the back loop. Do you see this bottom row? It is all, let's see the camera. It seems very blurry. I'm very sorry. It looks like stitches, and then in the top, see? That's why I do it. It's so pretty. Okay, so you chain one and you turn. So in this one, this second row, there's only a 2-row repeat. So you wrap your yarn, go in your back loop, your first stitch, go in your back loop, bring your yarn in, and then it's just like a slip stitch, but you don't wrap again. You could just go and pull it all through. Let's do it again. Wrap your yarn, go in the back loop only, pull up a loop. You got 3 loops, and then you slip stitch with those 2 loops, and you do that all the way across. It's very simple. Well, it's a little tedious, it's a little tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's so easy. This is a very easy stitch. And then you get a pretty little, you see that? Just a pretty little design right there. Let's pull up this bit more. Now I'm using a very busy yarn, but you'll be able to see it. Okay, you do that all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I have a few stitches left. I'm just gonna show you a little trick. So you wrap your yarn, you go through the back loop, wrap your yarn, pull up your loop, and then I hold it right there tightly, and then I pull it through. Let's do the last stitch. Just hold it there, and it's good. So at the end, this is how it's looking. You chain one and turn. And then you work in this first loop and you just do half double crochets all the way down. So it's a 2-row repeat. It's half double crochets, and I don't know what that other stitch is called. I'm assuming maybe, I don't know, make it up. Half double crochet slip stitch in the back loop. That's a long name, but you know, that's what it is. And the half double crochet all the way down. And I'll meet you at the end. And this is how it's looking. It looks so cool. This is the back, and this is the front, and I hope you can see that. You'll see your work a little better, and if you do a busy yarn, I mean, I like it. You would see this better on a non-busy yarn, absolutely. But it is what it is. Okay, I'll meet you at the end to show you one more time how to start and finish your row. Okay, so I changed the yarn. Hope you can see it a little better. Now this is what it looks like. Let me get, so you can see them side by side. I guess you can see this one pretty good. And then that's the front. Well, that's the front. And that's the back. So that's the back of this one. And there, no, this is the front. Yes. So when you get to there, you chain one. Always. It's always a chain one at the end of your row. Turn your work. And then you just do another row of a half double slip stitch in the back loop. So in the back loop, bring your yarn forward. I just pinch there and pull your yarn through. That's all you do. And that's how you do this stitch. Now you go in the back loop, wrap your yarn, go in the back loop, pull your yarn through, pinch between the first and the second, and then pull your yarn through. And then you got one loop. Now, each one will be different. So this is what the pattern is until you hit the neck part of your sweater. So it depends how many rows you do that. I will come back and show you what to do when you hit the neck. Okay, so I got 22 rows done, and it's half my back piece and my front panel. So it's, yeah, that's what you're working on. So then I count half of 150 stitches is 75. So 75 stitches. So you put a stitch marker in there, and then you go and you work. Oh, I got a chain one. Okay, so now I'm going to, I don't think I need this anymore. Now I'm going to do a row until I get to my stitch marker. So I will do this row and I'll meet you when I'm at the stitch marker. Okay, so I made it. There's my last stitch where my stitch marker is. So now I'm going to be working on my neck. Now I want my neck to be about 3.5 inches. So this is where my new row will start. So I chain one, turn my work, and just start with my half double crochet row and work my way to the end. And then when I get this part to be about 3.5 inches, I will come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I have done 7 rows, and it's about 3 inches. That's good. You can go a little bit more if you like, or not. It's all custom. I'm just telling you what I did. Now, the only thing you have to remember when you finish your neck, you have to end in this stitch, which I am calling it the half double crochet slip stitch. So once you get to the end, and then you have to chain, I have to chain 75 because that's how many 150, I cut it off at 75, so now I need 75 more chain plus one to turn. So I just do a chain here of 75, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I will come back when I got a chain of 75. Okay, so I have my chain of 75. I'm going to chain one for a turning chain and then a second chain from the hook. And now I'm going to turn it over and work in the back loops. The second chain from the hook, I'm going to be doing half double crochets. And that's why you have to make sure you end, hold on. You have to end on one that slip stitch, so you can do half double crochets in your chain. So now what I'm going to do is half double crochet all the way along my chain, all the way along the rest of my back, and I'm going to be doing 22 stitches, 22 rows to match this side of my other front panel. So 22 rows. And then once I'm all done that, it's just you carry on until you're done that, and then you cut your yarn. And then I'm going to show you how to sew. I'll bring it back to show you where you sew it up.
Okay, so I have my sweater laid out. I have it inside out. So this is the right side. You can kind of tell when you look at it, you see these little braids in it. That's the way I notice. This is the wrong side. It's just like a row. Now it's still textured, but it's still a row. And then here you have like a little braid. So to do the sleeves, measure around your arm, your upper arm, and see, I like it a little baggy. So I always do about 7 inches from the top to there, put a stitch marker there, then I do a couple more stitch markers all the way to the end. And then I sew it, I do both sides, sew it, and then turn it the right way, and we'll be back to do the arms.
Okay, so now on to the sleeve. So on my sleeve, I have it right side in now. It's not inside out anymore. And I'm going to start with inside under the armpit, so you don't see that where you're going to sew in your ends. Now I'll make a slip knot, and then I'm going to attach my yarn, or I am going to do a standing half double crochet. So I go in, wrap my yarn, go in, pull it through, wrap my yarn, pull through all 3 loops. Now that's my standing double crochet. And then I'm just going to go around as evenly as possible with half double crochets. And you want to try and get the same stitches around each sleeve. So I want to try and get 37 around my arm. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm going to go around and meet you back here. Now remember, if you're one off or whatever, that's fine. It's not going to make a big deal. Okay, so I got 37, and that's what I wanted. So to attach it, I pull apart the slip stitch, and I'm going to go into, not the slip stitch, my first stitch here, my standing half double crochet, and I'm going to attach it right in there. So insert my yarn, wrap my hook, and pull it through. I'm going to chain one and turn. Now all I'm going to do for the arms, go into the first stitch, half double crochets. My arms are just going to be half double crochet. Very simple. It works up really fast. So I will meet you, and when you go, I will meet you all the way around so I can show you again what I do. So just half double crochets in every stitch, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I made it all the way around, and all I'm going to do is slip stitch to join, chain one, and turn. Now one thing I do when I do my sleeves is I put in my first stitch, I put a stitch marker in, just to help me keep count of how many rows I've done. Now everybody's rows will be this different. I am going to be doing 28 rows. Now to see how many rows you need to do, just keep trying it on and see how long you want your sleeve. If you want a 3/4 cuff, that's fine. Do whatever you want. It's your sweater, or whoever you're making it for. Just make it for them. It's custom. So you just do half double crochets all the way around again. And that's what I'm going to be doing for 28 rows. You can do whatever, and I'll meet you back to show you how to do the cuff. Okay, so I did my 28 rows, and I'm going to slip stitch to join. I'm going to chain one and turn. Now we're going to start the cuff. Let's get some yarn. So the first stitch is just a half double crochet. And then I'm going to decrease one row. Now you can do, because that's quite large. So I'm just going to decrease one row. So what I'm going to do is wrap my yarn once, go through the loop, bring a loop up. Now I got 3. Wrap my yarn again, go through the next stitch, wrap my loop, get my loop on, bring it through. So I have 5 loops on my hook. I'm going to wrap my yarn, go through all of them, and then just a half double crochet in the next. It's every other stitch. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you one more time. Wrap my yarn, go through my stitch, bring a loop up, got 3. Wrap my yarn, go through the next stitch, bring a loop up. Now I got 5. Wrap my yarn and go through all 5. I'm going to do this all the way around. Every other stitch I'm going to decrease a row. And I'll meet you over here. Okay, so I made it all the way across. So now my first stitch and my last stitch were just regular half double crochets. That's fine. It'll be fine. So then I slip stitch to join. So now it's the actual cuff. So I'm going to chain 7. Now you can, if you want your cuff longer or shorter, it's up to you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to work in these the back again, the back humps. Skip 1 and single crochet in your next stitch. So your stitch count for this will be 6. Single crochet all the way along the back of the lumps, and make sure you can count. If you need to put stitch markers in, that's fine too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more, and 6. So now I'm going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches across the cuff. So there's 1, there's 2, chain 1, and turn. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this. After you slip stitch to join again, after you do your decrease, do not turn your work. It's fine. So now I'm going to do a single crochet in the back loops only, and you're going to do 6 up and then 6 back down. So there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4, 5, and then 6. So chain 1, turn your work, and then do that again. You keep going until you are all the way around your cuff. So just keep checking. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. And then slip stitch in the next 2. And that's all you do all the way around. And I'll meet you, see how it's, and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I made it all the way, got all them done, so I chained 1 and turn. Now in this one I'm going to attach them. So we're going to go into this back loop and that loop and chain. Just slip stitch together in that back loop, and it'd be like that front loop, like there's your V, be this one, go through that one, and we're going to go through that one all the way down. And make sure, you might have to do one extra one and just find a spot to put it in, just so you don't have a big gap in there. So then you chain 1, get some scissors, and then there. Then you do your other sleeve, and we'll come back and do the trim. Okay, so we're going to start on the bottom. Have it facing you, the right side facing you. You're going to slip stitch, make a slip knot, and then you're going to start right in the corner, attach your yarn, and then do a half double crochet in that same spot. Now this will be the bottom, and you see how you just don't know, some people just don't know where to put a stitch in. That's fine. So we got one there. We're going to go right across into here. Hope you can see that. Half double crochet. Half double crochet in there, and just make your way around and evenly as possible, just so they're not bunched up. And half double crochet in there, and that's all you're going to do along this row, just half double crochets. So see, it's not bunched up, so I'm going to go get my little pointer here, in there 1, in there 1, and then in there 1, and then in there 1. So these, you'll know where to put 1 because there's a big hole, but then you put 1 also when there's like it looks like a knot. It's not a knot, but anyways, that's what I'm referencing at, and 1 in there, and do that all the way along, and I'll meet you at the other side. Okay, so I made it all the way across. I'm going to chain 11. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I'm going to work in the back loops. Now if you want a longer trim, shorter trim, that's all up to you. This is how long mine's going to be. So on the back loop, I do single crochets. Sorry, it might not have been in the frame there. So single crochets, 10, because you chained 11, one's a turning chain, all the way down. And make sure and count them to make sure it's right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the last one, 10. Chain 1, turn it just like the sleeves, and then you do your 2 slip stitches. Chain 1, and then you work your way up and back down just like you did the sleeve, all the way down to all the way on the bottom of your sweater. And I'll be back to show you how to do the side trims. Okay, so I'm at the end. I'm at the end of the bottom border. So I'm going to slip stitch. I have 2 stitches left. So I'm going to slip stitch them both. If you only have 1 stitch left, slip stitch the one and work your way up, and then end it up here at the, like, only do 1 row of the single crochets in the back loop. Now that I have 2, I'm going to do 2 rows. So turn my work and do 10 double crochets in the back loop. All tangled up in the yarn, of course. So work my way all the way up. And then at the end, chain 1, turn, and then work my way all the way down. And then I will be done this part, and then I can work around the trim around your neck and stuff. This is just for the bottom of the sweater. There we go. So I chain 1. I'm going to count just to make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope. Cut my yarn. And now I'm going to do the same for the collar and the rest of the trim. So I attach my yarn at the bottom here. And do a half double crochet. I'm going to half double crochet all the way around, just like we did just like we did at the beginning of the trim for the bottom. And this part should be pretty easy because you know where to put your stitches. Well, here I think the only problem The only part where you really have to guess is around the neckline. And then we're going to add a couple here. Just make sure it's even. So on this side and the other side will be very easy. You just follow your stitches. The only problem, not the problem because you can do it, is around the neckline. But you just make sure it's even around the neckline, like one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. Yeah, just like that. And then you chain 10 and do your single crochets in the back loop just like you did down here. You're going to do it the same for the rest of the trim, and that's it. And then you're sewing your ends and your sweater's done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.